guys! I realized that the last couple of videos had something to do with my first year at university. It made me start to think more about the revelations that I had in that year. I felt like I was on the top of the world from when I found out I got into music school all the way up until right before classes started. Because as soon as classes started, I realized I wasn't as great as I thought I was. I definitely felt like the worst flutist. You're coming from the top of high school playing, but then once you make the jump into university, you're jumping into the bottom of university playing. We were doing things like going back to the first few pages of the Trevor Y, the tone book, the Tafnel and Gobert, 17 big daily exercises for the flute. I had done all of those stuff when I was like 9 or 10. Being told to go back to it when I was 18, I felt very indignant because I was like, what do you mean I have to study this stuff again? I already mastered it. Looking back, I realized that I did not master it as much as I thought I did. When you go to studio classes and when you go to master classes and you get comments from your colleagues and your teacher, you start to feel like you couldn't play your instrument in the first place, and why are you at the music school right now? I get it, I've been there. You have to remember that one, your teacher has a hell of a lot more experience than you performing, teaching, competing. They are there to teach you. Should you really feel bad about how badly you play right now? I don't actually think so. I mean, if you were already perfect, you wouldn't need to go to music school, right? And the other thing is with your colleagues. While you should take constructive criticism and work on those parts for yourself to better yourself as a musician, blah blah blah, at the same time, they have been in music school for longer than you, even if it's only a year. By the time you've taken music school for a year, you sort of adjusted yourself to your new life already. Whereas right now, for those of you who are in first year, everything still feels a little bit new. It's not fair to yourself to compare yourself with your colleagues who have more experience. However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't learn from them. In fact, take advantage of the fact that they have more experience than you. Ask them questions, make them tell stories. But you can't compare your current skill to their current skill. Because let's face it, everybody who is better than you has been where you are at one point in their musical journey. Whether or not they remember being where you are right now is their problem and not yours. What you'll also notice about your older colleagues is that they just kind of waltz into a studio class or a divisional recital, whatever you call them in your school. They just kind of waltz in and play like it's no big deal. Whereas you, as the little first year student, you feel it's the biggest deal in the world, and how can you be so confident? When you get into music school, you're constantly bombarded by concerts. So whether it's your like wind ensemble concert, your orchestra concert, small ensemble concert, studio recital, juries, more divisional recitals, random gigs, you're just constantly performing. Now, you just got into music school, so you've only just started being bombarded with concerts. Once you've been bombarded with concerts for like 2 or 3 years, you start to get pretty numb. You get to a point where you're like, well, it is what it is. I'm just gonna go out there and play. You will get to that point because music school will bombard you so much that you cannot help but be desensitized. In the practice room, you have 100% energy to put into your music because you're not nervous about playing it for someone else, right? So you are able to play that music like 100%, like super well. When you are on stage though, you still only have 100%, but now there's a chunk of that energy that is being used to be nervous. If you are more nervous, you're only gonna have like that much energy left to perform. So you can see over time, as you get more and more desensitized to concerts and to performing, your nervous level is going to sort of diminish. In the future, you will have more energy to devote to the actual music playing. The progression is not like that. You're not an instant star. You have an epiphany and then you go on a plateau and then you plateau and then sometimes you get worse because you have a bad tone day. And then you go up again because you have another epiphany and then like you plateau again. It's very messy. It's like, it's a lot of this. But no one really ever told me that. Kind of wish someone did. When I finished first year, I made a promise to myself that when I became an upperclassman, I would go back and help the first years as much as I possibly could. I remember what it was like. I did abide by that promise. To me, it has been the most rewarding thing. I just thought it was about time that I extended the gesture to my YouTube firsties. Enjoy music school while it lasts. Just keep in mind that it's just music, that you're there to learn. Do your best, but life is a little bit too short for you to take everything too seriously. So yeah, those were some of the biggest musings that I had concerning my first year at university. That was a really fun and exciting year. If you guys like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and hit subscribe to catch new videos every Saturday. My last video is right here, and if you want to catch me during the week, my social networks are down there, but otherwise, I will see you guys next week. Bye. You're coming from the top of like high school planing. I never remembered to check if there's anything stuck between my teeth. Excuse me.